Hamza, kindly share the screen.
You can use your thing. You can use your PC because me, I have just a phone.
Group A, are you okay?
Okay, good morning, class. Good morning, class.
Good morning, Faith.
Thank you for coming this morning for the presentations. This is Group A from Rubaga. We are starting off. Let me welcome Madam Primrose to start off with our presentation.
Thank you, Madam Faith. Good morning, everyone. This is Group A, and we chose, as we were required to choose an article, we chose Olsen and Mayer's article of 1999. And according to the questions that we were given, we tried to answer. And our first question was to select the article. We selected Olsen. Why we selected this is because it was dealing with the IT, it was dealing with communication. So we chose that since we are in the same field of IT. So this article This article is an article that talks about a research. This research was investigated or carried out to find out about the communication and collaboration within a certain team, an organization that had problems with its team members. So they wanted to know how they would coordinate and how they would collaborate well. So in this, our question was, what was their research problem? And this, we had the problem we found out was to improve collaboration and communication technology in the organization. So that was the problem, to make them join, to make them really coordinate and collaborate well, such that the system or the organization moves on well. So the other question was, what research had been done by others according to the problem? According to this problem we had, we tried to find out that the others had tried to look at the action research. And in action research, there are a number of things that were there, but that is the research they looked at. The other number was, what gap do they identify from the research others have done? According to this article, the gap that was identified was the institutional forces which inhabited the dramatic change in the work habits of this organization. So the team had forces inside it that hindered them to really go through well or coordinate well with each other, more so even the senior management team. And we went on, and we also were asked how they tackled and solved the problem. How they did this, they tried to implement the groupware product, which was called the Lotus Notes. And this was to facilitate communication and collaboration amongst the senior management team. This groupware had steps in which they used, and this one will be explained in the write-up properly. Thank you. I would call on Mr. Kawuchi to go on and take us through the research results that these people achieved. Thank you. Mr. Kawuchi, can you take on?
Thank you, my fellow Primrose. Thank you for your presentation. It's been a great one. Mika Uchams, I'll be taking you through the results, what these people found out after making this research. And yeah, you can just scroll down a little bit, Faith. Faith, scroll down. Yeah, as clearly brought to you on the screen, if you can see well. Through this article, I went ahead and we were able to find these results. The people did things they found out research. What they found out
Hello.
Sorry for that, my network, I just got a problem, but I'm back.
Okay.
Yes. For our first research where we found out, we were able to observe, we were able to just get out of the article. The first one, it was like, what they found out, the first result was that it is much more difficult to obtain benefits in social situations. And they went more further to explain this, that the organization consists of an aggregation of individuals and is a social structure in its own. And therefore, it is important to understand the social environment within which the group where is used. Next, they were able to find out that participants' interpretive schemes led them to interpret the groupware product in a certain way. So although the researchers had portrayed the groupware product as potentially transformative of work, the personal assistant interpreted it as a personal productivity tool. And they went more further to explain this, that they were mostly, the participants were mostly, these are personal assistants, they are mostly interested in how they themselves could save time and improve their own productivity. Another result is that although the senior management supported this project, the action project, the IT department was less than enthusiastic about it. And mostly because of this project was not under their control. So as a result, some resources of the project were not forthcoming. So, and in this, the lack of support from the IT department meant that some difficulties associated with the installation of the Lotus Notes, which was the project, which was the groupware project, were not resolved in a timely fashion. And another reason why they found out is that the broader institutional forces, such as the culture and the norms of the organization, which were there already, influenced the participants' interpretive schemes, such as that their use and appropriation of the product caused them to reproduce their current ways of working. When they introduced this groupware, the Lotus Notes project, it changed. It influenced their working norms, how their things were moving. Another thing, scroll down, Faith. What else they found out was, in relation to Oluski's idea of metastructuring, users in this organization were able to contextualize the groupware for themselves. So the personal assistants were able to customize Lotus Notes, suit their requirements. And in fact, it would be fair to say that the personal assistants are quite happy with the way in which Lotus Notes was currently, as explained in the article, was currently being used within the organization. As they praised that, there has been some improvement in the coordination of tasks within the senior management without any loss of control on their part. Another thing they found out was the project shown that it is important not to underestimate the power of the counter forces which exist to maintain the status quo. It is not one thing to install a groupware product, but quite another to transform existing norms and the ways of working. That's what we were able to observe. That's what we are able to pick out as that their results and their findings are from the article. And another question was asking us of the research approach, research methods, and the research tools. As this, I will transfer it to my colleague Faith to explain it.
Yes, thank you so much, Kaushi. Thank you so much, Kaushi, for the wonderful presentation. As we can see, the question saying, what was their research approach? What was their research? You reduce the volume. Hello, Kawishi. Hello.
Yes, I'm present. Yes, hello.
How we take over number 7? I will do the tools. There is
You
some
do
problem here. You do the
Okay.
number 7. I will do the.
Okay, there is a backup echo there, but let's continue this. The research approach they used, I was making a little, actually, if you pass through this article, read through, there's where they will tell you that they use the action research at their method, at the approach. That's how they actually, in simple terms, I can explain this like they use the action research approach to as the I don't know how I can link this well, but if you read this article well from the start up to the end, you can clearly actually get it out that they use the action research approach to overcome this. That's the approach they used to make their research as simple as that. Maybe that's how simple I can explain this. For the methods they used, if you read through the article, they implemented the action research project, and this, as we stated there below, as for the method they used, there was focus groups. The focus groups in this article, if you can observe them well, we had the participants, the assistants, we had the senior management team. Those were focus groups. That's where they implemented this project, the action research project. So in their research, these were the methods they used. We have the secondary research. These people who did this research, they brought the action research, and this action research was the research which was done before. So they used the same research to make another research. There is observations. They were observing the norms, how these people change their norms of working, the behaviors. And so the observation is also another method which was used. Faith, you can take over for the tools. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kawich Amza, for the wonderful presentation. I would love to take us through the tools that were used during their research. And to illustrate this, we drew the illustration here. The first tool that they used was diagonizing. With diagonizing, it involves the identification of primary problems that are used to address within the host organization. So when they were doing their research, these are the tools they used, and with the diagonizing, they were able to identify. They were able to identify or define the problems within the organization. Then the second phase they used was action planning, which is this one, action planning. With action planning, they were able to specify the organization actions that should be taken to relieve or address these problems. Then the other one, the third phase, was called action taking. With action taking, they implemented and planned actions on different issues that they were involved. Then the other one is this one, evaluation. With evaluation, they analyzed and planned action achieved to their intended effects. And then the last one was, the last phase was specifying the learning. With this, they specify what was learned during the action research project. And this is when the knowledge gained is applied within the organization and communication to scientific communication. the entire class and Madam, these were what we came out with. And this brings us to the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please, you're welcome.
Thank you, Group A. If there's any question, do we have any question? No? Okay, I will wait until I see other groups, then I'll make general comments for other groups. Can we have the second group? Which is the second group to present to us? We have Group B. This was Group A, I assume. Eh?
Yes, we have Group B.
Okay, can Group B please present?
Yes, hello. Yes. Hello. Colleagues, are you getting me?
We can hear you, Robert.
This group B, the group has members called Nakabiki, Majore, Toko Robert, John Davis, Sentum, then Odong Jasper. Some of my group members are not around, but we can't wait for them. We shall present on behalf of them. So we chose analysis of a research paper by Mayer's MD, trying to improve communication and collaboration with information technology, and action research project which failed. So the first question was, we are supposed to point out what was the research problem. So the research problem in that article was to understand fully the relationship between the introduction of groupware and changes in work habits and organizational structures of a given workplace. That was the research problem which we identified in that article of Mayer's. So the second question was, we are supposed to talk about what research had been done by others regarding the problem. So in this, there are some people who did the same research regarding the same problem. So what we came up with was research in this field has been done by such people called, there is this guy who's called D. Santos, and it was done in 1993, who suggests that researchers' assumptions about the effects of effects of technology or on organizations influence their theories in research, such as the individualism assumptions, which drives researchers to identify group weaknesses instead of individual ones. Hence, they end up coming with solutions to group weaknesses instead of individual ones. And then the next one was, what gap do they identify from the research others have done? As a group, when we read that article, we found that we we found that they identified that most previous research has been done using laboratory experimental results in artificial setups. Hence, the results from this research are questionable. For example, most research stated that technology has a positive effect on workplaces, which was not their finding. The next question was, how did they solve or tackle the research others have done? So what we found here was, instead of using an experimental method, they chose to use an action research method, which enabled them to work within the organization and intervene in the research situations while collecting data and information. So this allowed them to produce first-hand results from the research. And now let me talk about brief about what we mean by research action. And now this research action means that, for example, if you're working in an organization and you want to carry out research, what you do, you have that face-to-face access to the workers where you can ask questions, and they give you positive, they give the answer, the answers which you get for the questions which are asked are always the first-hand information. So we strongly believe that if they use action research method, they will solve that problem. Then I think if some colleagues of mine, they're available, please, you can take from where I've stopped, or if you're not there, I can still proceed.
Yes, guys, good morning.
Morning.
You scroll down. You scroll down.
No, okay. Yeah, you
okay, okay. Then question 4, how did they tackle the research problem? So they followed the action research cycle method, where they try to diagnose the problem, which was too much time the personal assistant spent collaborating meetings with the managers among others. So the second one, they planned for what action they could take, and in case it was to use the Lotus Note software that would enable workers to communicate from any location and coordinate their work, meaning that each and every worker could coordinate in each and every place he or she was in without being interrupted. Action taking. So this involved installing the softwares and training the workers how to use the software.
Contribution still continues.
Then evaluation. This included carrying out interviews and getting to know the workers' opinions about the efficiency of the software. For example, the senior managers were using the softwares to set up meetings without the knowledge of their assistants. Then 5, specifying learning. This is the part where the researchers implemented what they had learned into the organization's norms. For example, during this research, it was established that the managers were willing to fully cooperate with the technology, but the assistants perceived it as a way of minimizing their power.
I think, although if you're around, you can pick from the next slide.
Okay. Thank you, David. Anything now from the next slide? What were their results from the research? Here, as a group, we found that the research has established at the desk workers in the specific organization needed a change that the technology would bring. When the technologies not where the guy is called Lotus, not group, where software was implemented. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're getting you, please. You can proceed.
Okay. Oh, but can you scroll down? I was saying the software was invented, it didn't bring about the intended results. This is because some traditional viewers insist on that, in that dramatic changes in the habit and the technology didn't serve its purpose as intended. And the next question was,
Okay, Odong, please allow me to finalize this. Please, Odong, allow me to finalize this. The next question was, what was the research approach? The research approach which was used in this article was called action research. Action research. Then the next question was, what research methods and tools did they use? Now, the methods, one of the methods and the tools which they also use was also called the research method. Then they also use interpretive research method. When we talk about interpretive research method here, we here what it does, it doesn't limit the number of people who are supposed to intervene in the research. Then they also use we also talked about the implemented action research circle tool, where they put into practice its 5 steps approach. Now the first approach which we used here was diagonizing, then action planning, then action taking, evaluation, and specifying learning. Madam, I think we're done with our presentation. Unless when there's any question, that's when we can come back and explain. One of our colleagues who's called Majori, she had some problem. She couldn't attend the presentation, but she really participated in coming up with the final copy of this workshop. I don't know how we look at her situation. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Can we have the Rubaga had group A and B, so which means we need group C from Nkozi. Can we have group C?
Yes, good morning. Choco, can you help me and stop sharing so that I share? Yes, good. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Are you able to view my screen?
Are you able to view my screen? Yes, it is clear.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Lomoro Stephen Robert from Group C, and these were my group members. I had Kabega, Davis, Maiga, then I have Mohenji, Martha, then then also I had Komi, Godwin, then there's Natal Sharon, then KG, Mary. We looked at the article, which is titled Trying to Improve Communication and Collaboration with the Information Technology, which was written by Olesenan and Maya. So we tried to answer these questions which were posed towards us. And the first question was, what was their research problem? And this was what we identified as a group. We said under the problem, there was inadequate communication and collaboration among people. Well, we backed up with some reasons. One is when you look at the heading alone, it tells you there was problem which they needed to work on, and that problem was communication and collaboration. Then also, when you continue to read the article, down it was saying that the main problem identified was that personal assistants needed to be able to coordinate their managers' diaries, and managers needed to also be able to access these diaries easy and timely. So that's why we came up with that problem. Then when you continue reading, we also saw that other members or other staffs were able to view these diaries without the permission of these assistants or the managers. So yeah, they saw this as a problem, and they wanted to restrict people, okay, those who were to access the diaries in the institute. Basically, taking back, that was a problem. And we also went ahead and looked at question number 2, which was asking for the, it was asking the research done by others regarding the problem. I would like to invite Davis to take us through that part.
Right. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Okay. I'm going through question number 2, which is about research done by others regarding a problem. We came up with the following researchers. We have Wills, then we have also DeSanctis, as we are going through them. DeSanctis defines groupware as a technology that communicates and organizes unpredictable information, allowing dynamic groups to interact across the time and space. When we're reflecting on the article, we realize that Wallace tried to put up this thing of groupware, whereby we analyze the weakness, we identify the problems, the research thing. Then 2, we went to DeSanctis, 1993, suggests that a dichotomy between individualist and collectivist assumptions. She believes that researchers' assumptions about organizations concerning the role of the people, management, and technology in organizational change influence the choice of theories which researchers use their work. 2, about Sanctis, suggests that individualism has been an underlying assumption of much of the IS research performed historically in groupware areas. If individualist assumptions are held, the organization is viewed as being made up of individuals, which leads to researchers to view the GSS group system thing of as a tool for individuals. Then another one is the research based on the individual's assumption identifies the weakness in groups as opposed to, just like I told you, we analyze that from the research, this thing of individual identifies the problem in groups going to make the research. Lastly, the scientist suggests that from the collective viewpoint, the organization consists of an aggregation of individuals and there is a social structure of its own. Because institutions are socially constructed, their role in the society varies across culture and time periods. Thank you very much. That was what I was sharing with you.
I think the next comic can pick from there. What do you know with us?
Yeah. Yes, with you guys. You share the screen. Question 3 was asking the gap identified from research done by others. Let me hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are.
Okay, question 3, as it states that the gap identified from research done by others. Literally, if you look at the whole research, there were the two main people that came up with the research, and there are also others who had their own view about the research. So according to the discussion of the structuration theory, we can see that participants' interpretative schemes led to them to interpret the groupware product in a certain way. The personal assistants appropriated the software to shoot themselves. So literally, if we looked at like if we went through the whole thing, like the whole research, and then we have to find that both like the first people who did the research, that is Myers and Olsen, and then plus the other ideas that came from the other outside people that also had a clue about the same research. Like what are those things that like maybe what they have found and what the others have found, like in the middle, what are those things that ideate from another? So that becomes the gap, like the difference between the research others have done and the research those of Olsen and Myers have done. So it wasn't something that was very long. As a group, after our discussions, that's what we came up with as a gap identified from the research done by others. I think I can go through it once more, that according to the discussion of structuration theory, we can see that that participants interpret schemes led them to interpret the group product in a certain way. The personal assistants appropriated the software to shoot only themselves. I think that is where the gap comes in our research.
Thank you, Godwin.
Yeah.
You put from at 4.
Good morning, everyone. I'll take you through number 4, which was how they solved or tackled software, products, and internet. This new technology involved an electronic meeting whereby all diaries were made electronic to facilitate coordination of meeting and consultations. Another one was group support, system computer conferencing, The use of emails shaping work process, which potential improved the way in which people communicate and collaborate with the organizations of the first century. Therefore, an IT management system to enable coordination and communication and collaboration activities was implemented. You scroll down. Another one was, the groupware product was chosen as the most suitable groupware product since it would be able to the participants to communicate from any location at any time and coordinate diaries, book letters, and manage documents, repositories. Hello? I think those are the two, those are the two research, those are the two methods on how they used to solve the problem of communication and collaboration.
Okay, thank you, Martha. I think the next person can pick up, that is Sharon Natal.
Good morning.
Yes.
Let me take you through the results of their research. The first result is implementation of the groupware. In this paper, they explored the social and organizational context within which the groupware product was implemented, showing how the personal assistants appropriated the software to suit themselves. Basing on the discussion, interpretative schemes lead them to interpret the groupware product in a certain way. Although the researcher had portrayed the groupware product as potentially transformative of work.
Thank you so much. I think we are to the last part now. Let me invite our last member, that is Kejimeri, to take us through that part.
Good morning, everyone. Kejimeri from Group C, and I'm going to take you through the last question, which was asking for the research approach, the methods, and the tools that were used. Basing on our findings, when we went through the article, first of all, I would like to say that we had an error on this number. We had an error in this number because the result that we got as our final had I guess it wasn't edited and added to this. So I'll start with the research approach that these people used. It was okay, first of all, a research approach is a plan and procedure that consists of steps, of broad assumptions, of detailed methods of data collection, analysis, and interpretation. So when we analyzed this article, we came up with the research approach as the action research method. As I said earlier, we had some errors on this number. So I'm just I'm clarifying on it. The research method was, the research approach was the action research method because it involves plans and procedures of how the researchers were trying to collect data and then analyzing it and interpreting it to the people. And then the next one, under the research methods, we have the diagnosis. We have diagnosing, which involves identifying the problem in the organization. So they used this step in identifying the problem. Then the next method is the action planning. Under this method, they first identify the problem. Then here they were now sitting down and then planning on how they can come up with a solution for solving that problem. Then the next method is the action taking. After them now identifying the problem and then planning on how they would solve it, here they were now trying to implement, like bringing in something that would solve the problem they identified earlier. Then the next method is evaluation. Here they were now looking at the solution they came up with under the action taking, and then they were looking at how effective will that solution be. This is what we have under the evaluation type of method. Then the last method is specifying learning. When they identified the solution that would help in solving that problem, they were now looking at what do you learn from that thing, the software they came up with. What were the results of that software? So those are some of the methods that we included in our research here. Then the last question was asking for the tools. When you look at the tools, these are devices or instruments that are used in collecting information when you're carrying out your study. So some of the research tools that these people used were, we have the unstructured interviews. An unstructured interview is a data collection method that relies on asking participants questions to collect data on a topic. With this interview, it does not necessarily have questions that are already set. Then, because according to the researcher, we see that he undertook unstructured interviews with some of the participants and then coordinated the ability of resources for the pilot group. That's with the information technician in the school. And then the other tool that was used is the documentation, and then the last one is observation. That's all we had. Thank you.
Thank you, group. I think this was group C. Can we quickly have group D?
Excuse me, madam.
Yes, please. Yes, Gertrude. Hello, Group D. Group D should have Anthony, Francis, Gertrude, Henry, Laura, and Vanessa. I'm seeing Laura, I'm seeing Francis. Francis, is your group ready? Gertrude, is your group ready?
No, madam, power is off this side and they are saying their laptops are not on and their phones.
Okay. Power is
Yeah.
off at main campus.
Yes, please, madam.
And all the other groups are at main campus. What about the other groups? I'm seeing a number of people are on. I'm seeing a number of you are on. Group E, Colin, Emmanuel, Juliet, Mbowa, Senkumba. Are those there? No? Okay. That means that leaves us with a big group that haven't presented. From group E to group L, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups. And will all of you be able to present next week, or should we have an additional lecture for presentations so that we can try and finish up? I would have really liked that next week we go through all the articles and we see where the mistakes are. Is it possible for us to have an additional lecture? Thursday is a public holiday. Can't we use that time? Hello, can all of you, can we use the time of Thursday?
I think it's okay.
Okay. What time can we use Thursday? What time is convenient for you to try and finish these presentations? Pardon?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Some of us can't make it on Thursday because we have a test to prepare for. So Thursday can't be appropriate for us, yeah.
You have a test on Thursday?
Yeah.
Thursday itself on a public holiday?
Yeah. Some of us are not able to prepare. We shall not be able to come to, because not all of us, but of course we are mixed courses here.
What time is your test?
I think from 10 to around midday.
What about in the afternoon? Can't we have a presentation in the afternoon? Can we have a presentation in the afternoon so that we save time? Hello?
Pardon, madam, the network was breaking.
I was saying, since Hafsa says they have a test from 10 to noon, why don't we have that we finish the discussion maybe from 2 to about 3:30?
Of Thursday?
Yes.
I feel it's okay. I don't know about the rest.
Is everyone else in agreement? Can we meet online from 2 to 3:30? Can we agree? Okay. Someone is asking today, or no, Kenja was saying, Kenja and Sharon, that let's meet Thursday, since Thursday is a public holiday. We meet from 2 to about 3:34. We finish the presentations of all groups. Okay, so I think that point has gotten clear. Let's agree that we meet Thursday from 2 to 3:30. I'll post on the WhatsApp group, and let's meet Thursday and finish this discussion, okay?
Right.
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully we shall finish, and then if we have time, we shall have a discussion. At least most of you have discussed one paper. We shall discuss it, and then the next Wednesday, we shall finish all the other papers as well. We'll discuss all of them. Okay, I want to thank you for those who have presented. Let's meet on Thursday too. I'll post the time on WhatsApp. Thank you, everyone.